What is up, everybody? It's your boy Soto here with the Autumn Windbags. That is Rory Parsons. This is Juan Soto. Welcome. One day late, but it's all right. I have never in my life had to deal with such unprofessional behavior as Rory J. Parsons. We're
That's
like,
harsh.
bro, let's go ahead and let's watch this game. And then after the game, let's like middle of the fourth quarter, let's hop on. We'll talk about the end of the game. I hop on. I'm like, let's do this. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting with my thumb up my butt, literally, because, it's how I do it. And no Rory. I'm like, Rory, where are you at? Texting, nothing. After about a half hour, I'm like, man, bump this. I'm going to go to the couch and lay down. So I went to the couch, started watching some TV. Rory hits me up about an hour later. Sorry, bro. I fell asleep like the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, man, it was getting real slow for a minute there, and next thing I know, I wake up and it's it's like 5:30.
I was like,
I'm
this
not gonna lie to
freaking
you,
guy.
dude. It's not regular season yet, man. I'm not gonna lie. Watching the threes starts to get a little, I don't know, start dozing off there for a second.
Yeah, man, it's hard to pull anything that's really going to be of value in the regular season in the second half. Maybe some guys that can be special teams guys. Maybe some guys that are going to get work later in the year. I mean, that was Zay Jones last year. Zay Jones was playing, the second halves of these preseason games and getting a lot of look. And when Ruggs went and did his stupid shit, Zay Jones jumped in and he was ready to rock. So there is some value here, and it's not all. It doesn't always have to be catastrophe. It could just be a guy gets dinged up for a game, and you go in there and you're able to prove yourself against the other team's ones. Maybe a team. Maybe a coach like McDaniels is going to put a package together that you're involved in. Maybe not a package just for you, but something you can be involved in.
For sure.
Freaking Dutch Master said, truer words were never spoken. Still probably my favorite profile picture on here. Oak Raider 12, what up? What up, man? Welcome. The dude, I was at the game. The dude
Oh, nice.
abides. How was it, man?
Yo.
How was the atmosphere at the game? It was pretty loud on TV.
Dude, Allegiant, I was surprised, man. I mean, it wasn't 100% obviously, but it was like you could see there was
Pretty packed.
yeah, it was pretty dense all the way even up to the rafters, man. And obviously McDaniels in his presser afterwards said it was the the most electric preseason game he's ever been a part of, which I don't know, it seems a little bit of a stretch, but it's still good to see a lot of people go into those preseason games.
You know what, dude? Honestly, like these are you get the two ends of the spectrum here. You get the hardcore fans that want to see the rookies and undrafted guys play in the second half, right? And then you get the casual fans who just want to go to a game and drink and have fun, So you get the both ends of the spectrum here at these preseason games. Which
Yes, sir.
whatever, man. It's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. It's football, man. I watch so much football. I got that NFL Plus,
Mm-hmm.
so I can watch all the games. I can watch all the game film I want. So I'm super psyched about that. I will let you know
Yep.
right now. It is a little bit late in the evening, and we're recording. It's about 10:10 right now. My cats have this clock, okay, and they would riot if I would have locked the door. And I have one right here. He just run in. This is Razor
Oh
Ramon.
shit.
This is Razor Ramon. I got him the day after Razor Ramon died. And this is
Okay.
Razor Ramon. What's up, Razor? All right, get out of here.
How many cats do you have, dude?
Dude, I have 3. So here's the deal.
Oh
I
my
had 2.
God.
I had 2. Actually, I had 1. Okay, back up. When I got divorced, I had 2. I got the cats. I got 2 cats. Well, one of my
Fair.
cats died. Hey, bitch, what are you doing? Get out of here. Uh, one of my cats died because she was the runt of the litter. She was really old. I'm surprised she made it to 12. She looked like a kitten her entire life. She was that size. Anyway, she died finally, and so my other cat was lonely as fuck, like just sitting around moping. So
Yeah, you got to
then,
get your cat a cat.
yeah, I got another cat, right? Okay. Well, the original cat that was still alive, I took her to the vet, and the vet's like, "Yeah, she's got stage 3, kidney disease. It's gonna be rough for this one. She's gonna go soon."
Damn.
And I'm like, "Damn." And then I got the opportunity. My girlfriend wanted a cat, and this is that cat's brother. So she's like, "Can you take him? Because then they can have." There it goes. Then they can have play dates, and I'm like, "Look, sure," because this one's my other cat's about to die. So let me get this one. So because the other cat that I got was still young, was like just barely a year old when I got this one. The older cat is fucking hanging on like a piece of gum in the sun, dude. Like it's fucking still alive. And I'm like, Jesus, I thought you were supposed to die 6 months ago. But whatever, that's still alive. I mean, she's getting old, but I mean, she's still kicking. So I'm not going to be the one to push her over the edge if she's still running around.
You are a crazy cat man.
I am.
You're the crazy cat guy.
George C., what's good, fellas? So salute, man. You always show a lot of love, Jorge. Much love, bro. Much love. No love for Roy because, he falls asleep during games and fucks up our shit. All right, so big news coming out of the game. The Raiders win 26-20 on the arm of Nick Mullins in the second half. He was pushing the ball down the field. That's one of the things that I was very concerned about with Jarrett Stidham, knowing this offense better and just dinking and dunking the entire time, not really pushing the ball down the field. Nick Mullins went in there, pushed the ball down the field a little bit more. Now, I only say that because that was one of my big concerns with Derek Carr coming into last season. He was a little bit too dink and dunk, didn't push the ball down the field more. He did correct that to some extent. So that's one thing that I always look at for the backup guys.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta say I was impressed with him. I think, in the last post game, we kind of joked about it. And we were like, there really isn't a quarterback battle for the backup spot behind Carr. But I don't know that anymore, to be honest, dude. Like Mullins, obviously the one that stands out is the DJ Turner. That was a strike. That was a bona fide strike in stride to a fast guy with separation. That was a wow play. He was 7 of 9. He looked good. And it's kind of nice to be in this position where we've got two guys that seem pretty damn competent behind Carr. You're never going to replace Derek Carr, but I like our options.
Yeah, you go Nick Mullins, just over 10 yards an attempt. I'm going to tell you something right now. When you're about 9 yards an attempt, that's good in the NFL.
Yeah,
Nick Mullins was 10 yards an attempt, which he's pushing the ball down the field. Stidham was about just over 4 yards an attempt. Not great. Yeah,
Stidham's a tough one, man, because his probably his worst play, besides he kind of gets out of the pocket too quick and he eats some sacks. That there was one with the left guard, Alex Barrs, dealing with a stunt and sort of pushes his guy outside, and Stidham's for some reason rolled out of the pocket to his left and kind of walks into this sack. But there was also the play in the red zone, his rushing touchdown, where I think everyone was screaming at the TV like, dude, Kenyon Drake was wide open over the middle, and his eyes were still... Yeah.
That's the thing is, when you're in the red zone, everything happens so fast. So your reads have to happen faster too. You can't stay on that guy for that long. You have to scan. And this is one thing. Is before we go any further, Tammy McBride, we don't have very female windbags. So whenever one hops on, welcome, crazy cat lady. I see that cat on there. Bam, we're right here.
It's your people.
My people, baby. Carlos and Fuego all day, baby. Always showing us some love. One thing that I noticed one of the first things I noticed about Mahomes is he has his initial read, but he'll scan the entire field before he goes back to his initial read, even though he knows he's going there. Just, in case somebody falls down or somebody gets beat. Okay, this is going to work. Let me just take a quick peek over here, and then I'll go back to where I was going to go. He consistently does that, and that's something that Derek Carr was doing towards the middle of the year a little bit more. And that's something that needs to happen in the red zone. Unless you're throwing, you're throwing that fade in the corner to Waller, or to Devontae, you need to take a quick peek and know not exactly where your guys are going to be, but like the section of the field where your guys are going to be. So that was a big negative for me, even though he did score on his feet.
Yeah.
I would rather not have my quarterback scrambling for 5 yards, running head straight into the middle linebacker to kind of get a touchdown. That's just me.
He made a nice little move on the safety at the goal line. He still ate a hit, but he did enough to fall forward. It was a nice little move, but still, I'm with you, man.
I don't want
you want
that.
him to hit that. You want him to hit the progression and not worry about it.
Let the guys who get paid to get hit, let them get hit. I don't want my quarterback getting hit. So, quarterback play wise, I think the game is on. The game is on right now. Stidham has shown after his back surgery. I think it was at the end of 19 season, at the end of 20 season, I think it was. He didn't play last year, and I think right now where he is, I think this is where he's topped out, and he has shown mobility. He does have command of the offense, but any of the things that you say positive about Stidham, it's not that you can say that's a negative against Mullins. It's not like Mullins doesn't know the playbook. It's not like Mullins is not mobile back there. He can't move in the pocket. Mm-hmm. I think his pocket awareness was much better in this game than with Stidham's. He was able to hang in the pocket. He was able to slide in the pocket and still look downfield. We have to remember something. Nick Mullins, he started 17 games. He's basically started an entire season in the NFL. Mm-hmm. He's won a lot. I think he's won 6 games.
I don't know, but I know he started a lot of games.
He started a lot of games. So this is not some, slapdick guy that we picked up from fucking who knows where state in Delaware or whatever. This guy, he knows what he's fucking doing back there, and he's a pro. I find it hard to believe that Nick Mullins, okay, let me put it this way. Nick Mullins is going to have to really show by head and shoulders he's better than Stidham for him to take over Stidham, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree. Just the familiarity with the offense. But then again, if you look at their trajectory, I think everyone agrees this was a better game for Mullins. So next time out against the Dolphins, everything's to play for. But again, it's a nice position to be in, right? And we're not paying our backup $7 million this year, so that's also kind of cool.
Yeah, it's all who's there. Hey, speaking of our backup, freaking Mariota better watch out, dude. Because Riddle went out there and put on a little bit of a show for the Falcons. One of the things that, sticking with the offense, one of the things that kind of jumped out to me was just the back usage again. Now, neither one of the backs played terribly well, I would say, but they were steady. A couple of them were pretty good in the pass game. Rushing wise, I mean, they were up and down. I think Walter showed a little bit of flash. I think he probably showed a little bit, probably the most burst out of the backs that we saw, including Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake, I mean, what was he? 4 carries for 15 yards. Not bad.
So let's get into it real quick. So
let's talk about it.
Jacobs didn't start the game, which, like the headlines sort of, I think just preseason, everyone was looking for a headline, and a lot was made out of the fact that he played so many snaps in the first preseason game. Josh McDaniels obviously came out and said that it wasn't because he's getting shopped. It was just because you can't simulate certain things in terms of contact in practice, and he believes in getting his running backs going in preseason, which makes total sense. But then, didn't play him game 2, which is good. I think everyone would have been pretty pissed off if he was out there game 2. So Zamir Zeus started, and it was kind of the same again. Like, he runs very hard. But I think, honestly, the line is we clearly didn't have as much success in the trenches in this game, so the holes weren't nearly as big. The interior offensive line wasn't opening up holes like they were against the Jags. So it wasn't overly impressive. But then, as you said, so Kenyon Drake comes in. Kenyon had some hard runs. There was a short yardage run that he kind of barreled over the line, but still didn't really show anything that would separate him from the pack. And then Britton Brown came in. Finally, it was good to see him in action. He had some good moments, actually, some decent one cuts.
Strong running.
Yeah, strong runner, dude. But he also had that fumble at the end.
That's the easiest way to get put on the bench,
for sure.
Especially with a McDaniels guy, the way that they down from Parcells to Belichick to it just all went down the line. You know for a fact the easiest way to get a seat on the bench is to put the ball on the ground, and it doesn't matter who you are.
I actually really, really like that about our boy McDaniels. He said that in his presser. He was talking about the quarterback's performance. And he was saying one of the things that he's really impressed with so far with Mullins and with Stidham is that they're not turning the ball over. And that's a big coaching point for him, which I fucking love that.
Yeah, in the last week's show, RJ's like, well, I don't think that turnovers and turning the ball over is a point of emphasis for every coach. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You can't score if you don't have the ball. And the thing is how are you emphasizing it after the fact? Are you just yelling and screaming? Are you just talking? Or are you showing them, hey, man, you put the ball on the ground, you're not going to play. I don't care who the hell you are. I can't trust you. And that's one of the things I was talking about. And that's why I love that phrase again, the standard is the standard, is I don't care who you are. If you're not meeting the standard, you're just not going to play. I don't care where you were drafted. I don't care how much you're getting paid. Finally, towards the end of the year, we did that with Littleton, where he was playing, and it's like just getting beat, getting burnt left and right, getting bowled over, missing tackles. And finally, once Divine Diablo kind of came back from injury and was ready to rock, he regulated Littleton to special teams, the highest paid special teams player in the league.
No doubt.
But I don't think anyone really separated themselves in this game. I think Drake showed that he can be serviceable, but I think he needs a little bit more usage than what he's going to get in this game for this team, because it's just so crowded back there. Now,
yeah, man.
If we're going to go a little bit deeper into it, go a little bit deeper, get that the extra inch, that optical inch. Pull the nuts to the side, get that extra flow going. What do you think is the market for Kenyon Drake should we choose to maybe shop him around?
I said a couple of weeks ago with you, I was like, dude, if someone was stupid enough to offer us a third rounder, you snap that off. I don't think that's realistic, though.
Ooh, third rounder, bro. That's heavy.
Yeah.
We didn't get a third rounder for fucking Hudson, dude. He's one of the best.
I know, and the running back market's slim and whatever else. Kenyon Drake, I don't think he's ever had over 1,000 yards, but he obviously had a great year with the Cardinals. Right before we picked him up in free agency, we really bought him at the top of his market. What can we get for him? I don't know. One of the trades I actually really like a lot that's kind of becoming more and more trendy is swapping picks with another franchise. Instead of if you were shopping Drake and you were like, all right, we'll take a fifth rounder. Let's see if we can swap a third rounder with someone down the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like if there's, you know what I mean? If there's a team like, who's a team that obviously aren't going to do that well this year?
The Bears.
The Bears, the Jags, possibly the Browns, depending on this Deshaun Watson thing. I would swap a third-round pick with one of those guys.
I'm looking at this because, honestly, we need help on the offensive line. We're going to get to the offensive line. Don't worry, guys. We need help on the offensive line. Speaking of the Bears have a second-round pick from last year's draft named Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins does have some ability, but for whatever reason, he's in the doghouse with the Bears. Mm-hmm. Okay, how about, because another thing too is their speedster, Tariq Cohen, blew his ACL out on Instagram Live doing a workout.
He
Oh,
was a
I'm
free
sorry.
agent.
Was he a free agent? I thought he was
Yeah.
still on the team.
No, I think he got cut. But either
Really?
way, I mean, it still stands out, dude. Like they
Well,
need weapons,
they
and
need weapons. That's one thing they're missing is weapons. Guys that can stretch the ball down the field and get chunk plays. So
yeah, I
you
like
know
that a
what?
lot.
We got one of those guys that we can send to you. We need a little bit of help on the offensive line.
Hmm.
Send this guy over here, a young piece. You know, maybe we can make that work. It could work.
I love that, man.
It takes us out from underneath that big contract this year. We're paying a
Hmm.
second rounder from last year's contract for this year. We still have it under control for another 2 years after this one, so they get 4 years, right? Uh,
Hmm.
so I mean, it seems like it'll be a win-win. He's really not playing that much.
Right.
Uh, you know, even in preseason, you know, maybe a
So what are
change
we
of scenery
thinking?
would be good for both of us.
So Jacob's 100% unless he gets traded. So 95%, right? Who's your number two? Zeus, right?
Yeah, yeah, for
So
sure.
Zeus,
And then
Brandon Bolden.
Amir Abdullah is going to be the third down back. That's what it looks like.
I mean, he's carved out that role, right? So there's three right there. Do you think Bolden sticks around? Everyone seems to think he's going to stick around. He obviously hasn't played preseason, but he's kind of that coach on the field. He's a special team captain, that kind of thing.
So
I
here's
don't
the
love
thing.
it.
So running backs and linebackers are kind of built similarly, right?
Ish. Yeah.
Ish. You know, and now some of these linebackers that you keep towards the end of the bench who are special teams guys, they're not huge guys. They're the more speedy guys. Maybe they could put on some weight later. They're younger guys. So
Hmm.
that's the role you're filling. So let's say for Brandon Bolden, if he's going to be a core special teams guy, it doesn't matter if it's an extra running back or it's an extra linebacker. It's just a spot that's going to be a special teams guy. He's
Right.
going to play that linebacker spot in punt protection, all that stuff. He's going to play that guy, that role, right? So could we carry 5 running backs? Sure. That 5th running back is just going to be like that 6th linebacker. They're never going to get to play. They're going to be on special teams. So
to keep going down that list, Brandon Bolden, you think makes the team, special teamer, coach on the field. Let's assume he does. So that's 4. So then you're looking at Drake, who we think is either going to get cut or traded, based on what we've seen so far in preseason. And
fullback.
then, yep, you've got Jakob Johnson, who everyone
Johnson.
loves, and they plan on using him.
And that's it.
Look, Britton Brown, Andrew Walter, I think both go to the practice squad, right?
Oh yeah.
But then it still leaves one odd man out, which would be ultimately Kenyon Drake or Bolden or Abdullah. And at the moment, who's winning that race?
Abdullah's
Abdullah's, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Based on everything we've heard, Andy contributes on special teams as a returner.
Well, also what we saw in the first game against the Jags, his role was carved out. He, you know, ran over a couple of guys, got a couple, you know, strong runs. He caught a couple of passes. That's what he's going to be there for. And honestly, I couldn't think of a better guy with his track record when he was with the Lions, and he was that little safety valve for your boy Stafford. He was, was trying to push the ball down the field, Okay, well, there's Abdullah, and I mean, there was some lean years for the Soto team fantasy football wise, and I was like, who am I gonna pick up here? And I picked up Amir Abdullah a couple times, and he's done fairly well given the opportunity. The thing is he's not a very good runner. I mean, he's not like the kind of guy that you can run a traditional running offense through. He's a little bit smaller, doesn't really run well between the tackles. He's more of an outside guy, and the guys are so much faster in the league this year. You have to be able to run inside and outside. If you don't have that inside threat, you're just not going to be able to run the ball effectively. But as a pass catcher, as a third down guy, yeah, for sure. I think he's shown that he's going to be the guy.
Look, if Drake goes, I'm a little concerned if Jacobs gets injured. Like, I don't love the idea of our offense running out there with Zeus starting. Like rookies, as everyone knows, like there will be fumbles, there'll be mishandled snaps, there'll be missing blocking assignments. There's always going to be that sort of shit. With Drake, you don't have to worry about it, and you get a dynamic weapon that can run and catch. I know he isn't performing right now, but I'd feel more confident with him as the number 2. He just hasn't justified it so far in preseason.
It's early. We still have 2 more games.
Yep.
the issue that I'm noticing right now is that it's still a big jumble, and we're gonna get what's the next game is the Patriots, right?
No, it's the Dolphins.
Dolphins. Well, it doesn't matter. We practice against both of them,
Mm.
which is, I mean, any coach and any player will tell you the inter squad practices. I mean, the inter team we practice another team. That's more than the game because you actually go one on one in those guys. So we'll
Right.
see. We'll see what happens. I think we'll be able to tell a lot this next game, preseason game against the Dolphins. Um, I have a feeling if Kenyon Drake gets a lot of action, let's see, he had 4 carries, and excuse me, he had 2 targets and 4 carries. If he gets something like that in a half a play, if he gets something like that again, or even maybe a little bit more, then
Hmm.
we're shopping him because there's
Right.
no reason why a veteran who has that size of contract wouldn't be able to show you what you need to see during those team practices.
Right.
Um, so that's something to take a look at. Do you want to move on to the offensive line, my good sir?
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it.
All right, go ahead, man. Let me know what you think.
So let's go left to right. So left tackle, Illuminor. I'm actually a big Illuminor guy. I like him a lot. Um, I watch him a lot. He stands out to me because he's wearing number 72. He reminds me of Donald Penn on the left side. Um, he wins the vast majority of his one-on-ones. Like when you see a line collapsing and the pocket collapsing, see if you can rewind it and take a look at Illuminor's rep. More often than not, he's the only guy that's standing up. And that was on the right side at right tackle. That was this week at left tackle. I saw the PFF grades floating around. I don't necessarily agree with them. I really liked what I saw from Illuminor again. He is kind of the swing tackle we were hoping Brandon Parker to be. And to
Mm,
me, he's the best replacement for Denzel Good right now. I like him a lot. I'm pretty high on him. I think that's our backup left tackle. And honestly, I think he's right in the running for the right tackle job too, starting day one.
yeah,
I think honestly, I think he's probably the best, most ready out of the 3 candidates so far right now, with Brandon Parker going down. So that's the left side. Uh, John Simpson, he only played, I think it was the first quarter. I don't know if he was in there on the second quarter. I think he was for a little bit, right?
I think
Do
he
you
played
know?
like the first couple snaps, and that was it.
Right. He had a couple of good plays. He was mauling in the run game. He looked solid. He didn't get beaten at all. So another good game. Andre James at center. He started off at center again. Looked pretty strong. I think he won those battles. Didn't give up anything big. I think that's pretty much locked in the left guard center scenario. Right guard, Lester Cotton. Up and down against the Jags. I noticed him get beat once, and then I noticed three plays that literally looked identical for him, where he was the pulling guard running left, and all three he got a great block on his assignment and opened up a running hole. So that was one of the knocks on him coming out, was that he didn't have great movement skills and he didn't look good in space. I think he's really improved on that, and he looked good pulling from right to left. But he's making mistakes in preseason against 2s and 3s, and that's not a good sign for the right side of our offensive line.
Yeah, it really isn't. Got another one.
God damn.
This is Apollo Creed. This is Apollo Creed. Apollo Creed, say hello.
My God, I'm a dog guy, dude. I just gotta say that up front.
Dude, I'm an animal person. I had dogs my entire life until I got my first cat. So I just love animals.
Touche. I like animals too, but cats kind of suck in my experience.
Nah, cats don't suck. You suck. Okay,
Anyway,
so Lester Cotton. I think Lester Cotton is benefiting from the new blocking scheme. It is not a numbers counting, like you're not counting the hats, right? It is an inside out blocking scheme. The more that I've seen about this blocking scheme is you don't have a specific guy that you're blocking. The first guy around blocks the first color. The second guy around blocks the next color. Make it really simple, really easy. You don't have to count 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's the mic. Okay, which is my guy? Counting off of that shit. No, you don't need to do that shit. You do that in pass protection. It's different, but in run protection, you don't have to do that. But some people don't know how it works sometimes. But yeah, usually when you identify the mic on a running play, it's because you're basically counting. Okay, that's the mic, so that's 1, 2. Okay, that's my guy. if you're the second guy or whatever, depending on where they are. So you don't have to really think about it. You just kind of hit your spot, and then the first color that comes, that's your guy. I did see Lester Cotton miss a guy, just not block him and block the second color. No bueno. Can't do that, because that's what gets that's because now basically you're getting the same guy going to block the same defender, because the guy that's second behind you is, let's say, the fullback or whatever. He's going to block the guy that you end up blocking, and the first guy that you're supposed to block goes free. So that, like you said, mistakes against 2s and 3s, can't have that.
He got beat pretty damn good 1v1 on a swim move where the guy just blew straight through him.
Yeah, he paused him. He hesitated him. He didn't, instead of driving out, he just kind of stood up, and Lester just kind of like lunged forward, and boom, he was right around him. Pretty nice little move by the defender. I'm not gonna lie, but you got to be able to. That's why you have to sit back and punch. You can't lean forward. Okay.
So look, Cotton.
What are we talking about here? The main thing we're talking about.
He's our starting right guard. He's got to be. We are currently auditioning this guy as our starting right guard in the NFL Week 1 against the fucking Chargers. So he has come along a long way. He's obviously been doing good work in the weight room. He's putting really good positive plays on tape at a really good rate. But is he going to be ready for Week 1? That is what we're talking about. And it's to be determined.
Question. Let's say Illuminor does enough to take the right tackle spot. Does Leatherwood then take over that right guard spot?
I don't think he does. Okay. Just based on preseason. So obviously they're trying a lot of different combinations, and McDaniels has spoken to that a couple of times. I don't think he does. I think that they like Cotton at right guard a lot more than they like Leatherwood at right guard. Let's talk about right tackle since we're going there, right?
Let's.
So Thayer Munford Sr. Is it senior or junior?
On the mic.
Junior.
Lumina could be the right tackle. Carlos Enfuego. Soto, what did you see in Thayer Munford? Rear Nation for Life Championship. Rory, I'll take that first. Oh, you know what? I'll take it. Fuck it.
Go for it.
I saw some peaks and valleys with Thayer Munford. The valleys reminded me way too much of Leatherwood. It's like when your upper body moves but your feet don't. That's when you get caught leaning and you get caught reaching. I thought he was decent on some plays, if and not good or great. He was okay. He was passable, on some plays. I saw a couple of videos breaking down his performance. A couple of them were like 3-step drops. And it's like, dude, okay, you kept the guy in front of you for a 3-step drop. What is that, like a second and a half? Okay, great. Like, wow. It doesn't really show you anything. When there was a little bit of coverage downfield and he had to hold off his defender a little bit longer, I didn't see him winning too many of those battles, man. I'm very concerned. Now, here's the issue. He's a 7th-round pick. The guy that we had doing that last year was a 1st-round pick. So it's much more excusable for Thayer Munford to have these kind of concerns. I didn't see him get out of position feet-wise too often. I saw him getting out of position hand-wise much more often. I don't know what you think about that. But he did get beat a lot on 2 twists and stunts where he followed the end, crashed in with the end, and didn't get the tackle looping around the outside, which is a very popular stunt with defensive linemen.
All right, so I'm gonna be pissing in everyone's cornflakes right now because I'm not seeing the highs. I'm seeing only the lows with him.
Well, to be fair, I didn't say highs.
You said peaks and valleys. I didn't see any fucking peaks.
Well, the peaks weren't very high. I said they were okay.
Speed bumps.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, okay. This is helpful for those listening. If you haven't done this, it's a good exercise. So who the hell is Thayer Munford Jr.? So he came out of Ohio State. 6'6", 330 pounds, ridiculously long arms, huge hands, kind of your prototypical size for a tackle. Super slow 40-yard dash, no jump whatsoever. But he did start for 4 years at the Ohio State. He was projected to go as early as the fourth round. We got him in the seventh round. He did also move around a lot in college. So he started at left guard, he started at right tackle, he started at left tackle. So these are all positive things. Why did he fall? Ultimately, it's because his movement skills suck and his technique sucks. Can it improve? Absolutely, it can improve. But the idea that he could be our starting right tackle week one is
No.
I don't even have a fucking word for it. It's delusional. The idea of gambling this season with Devontae Adams and the offense that we have, the win now mentality that Ziegler's brought in, we are not fucking winning now if Thayer Munford Jr. is our starting right tackle.
No,
week
not
one.
happening.
Period. It's not happening.
Look, Thayer Munford is the kind of guy that you put on your practice squad because if someone claims him, that means they have to put him on their active roster. So, from what he's shown, he's going to go on the practice squad.
I think we're too thin, honestly, in terms of tackle depth to put him on the practice squad. I think he's going to stay on the roster initially because we don't want to lose him. We couldn't stand to lose him. But his feet are so slow. His kick slide is super slow. There's so many technique issues. So the guy that he was going up against, I think it was number 91. What was that motherfucker called? I want to say it was number 91. I looked him up during the game because I was like, damn, this guy's working him. He was a third-round pick last year for the Vikings. He's kind of like a Malcolm Coons. Like similar size. He's not particularly big. He's like 264 pounds. And he did get some meaningful snaps during the regular season last year for the Vikings. And they like him. Like he's a good prospect. Kind of like a Malcolm Coons type. They're fairly high on him. But he was beating Munford in a variety of different ways. And again, the idea of him starting against the number ones is, you know, they were getting a ton of help like they were for Leatherwood at right tackle, like they were for Brandon Parker. Even with the help, there was a rep where the tight end did a great job locking up the defensive end and then sheds the block, goes out in the flat. And then Thayer Munford still gets driven back about 10 feet into the quarterback. I'm like, damn, dude. He's nowhere near ready. It was great to see meaningful reps over there during the preseason. Like, he'll get better. And he's one for the future, but he's not one for week one.
Yeah, man. I mean, Steve the Cockfighter says, how often do guys coming from a school like Ohio State improve by giant leaps? At this point, he is who he is. Well, I don't agree with that 100%. I do agree with his measurables are going to be his measurables. So is he going to suddenly jump out of the gym? Is he going to be more? Is he going to be explosive? He's going to be that kind of offensive lineman, like a young like Tyron Smith from the Cowboys. Like he was like an explosive tackle, athletic dude coming out of college, just like super athlete, mobile, all this stuff, just knocking guys off the line. Is he going to be that guy? He's never going to be that guy. He's not built that way. He doesn't have those twitch muscles. But can you improve on his footwork? Yes. Can you improve on his recognition? Yes. Can you improve on his football IQ? Yes. You can improve on all those things. Now, how much can you improve? Who knows? Who knows if maybe something clicks in his head and things just start to make sense, or you start teaching things the way somebody learns them as opposed to just teaching everybody the same way. Who knows? That's why the practice squad is great. I don't know that we're going to put him on the practice squad because I think Illuminor, if he's not going to start, he's won the swing tackle job. We know he's played right tackle for an entire season for Josh McDaniels. He did pretty well on left tackle this game, so he can be the swing tackle. Looks if we have to see who else is out there. I mean, Parham. Let's talk about Parham a little bit. I thought he did okay. I thought he just needs to get a little bit stronger. I thought he got pushed back a little bit. When he's on the move, he's much better. When he has to anchor down, he does get bowled over.
This will be a good coaching game for him. Honestly, I think he had a less successful game than he did against the Jags. I mean, our whole offensive line did, to be honest. They were. That's what you get from a Vikings team. You know, they're going to be strong in the trenches. And something that McDaniel said that I actually really liked was that the Vikings were a great preseason test because they played different schemes than we do on both sides of the ball, right? So this was something completely different for all of our young guys to see than what they've seen in practice. And I think that showed. Obviously, that manifested in different ways. But Parham, the one thing that stood out to me on the Parham side was that stunt that he missed.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, I mean, but that's we've seen a lot of that this preseason where we've also been doing it. Like those stunts are really, really good coaching teach tape for these young offensive linemen because it's all about awareness, right? It's like you need your head up. You can't just lock into one guy. This is the NFL.
Okay, so here's my peeve when it comes to offensive linemen. If you're blocking a guy, you don't have to look at him. Your hands are on him. Especially if a guy's trying to shoot that gap in between you and the guard. If you're a center, if a guy's trying to shoot that gap and you get your hand on him, why the fuck are you looking at him for? There's no reason for you to look. You can feel where he is. You know where he is. Keep your head up. And that's the issue. There's two things that really get me when it comes to offensive linemen. Because I played the position, because I coached the position, I know little things to look for. That's one of the ones that really pisses me off is when a guy shoots a gap in between two offensive linemen and they're both blocking him and like, oh, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna block you, looking right at the guy, and then someone runs right around him, or not right around him, but maybe they see it a little bit too late because they're so focused on this guy. That's one. Another one is when you have a planned double team, like a center posts, and then the guard comes in to clean up. What you want to do in that instance is the center and the guard want to get shoulder to shoulder, and their primary job is to turn that defender one way or the other. Turn them around. Don't keep them square. Turn them so you can push them. Once you turn, so for example, I'm the center and Rory is the guard. Rory crashes down to double team, and I'm posting, right? Rory's primary job is to turn that defender enough so then me as the post can turn as well, and then Rory can scrape off to the linebacker or the second level, whoever's up there. And when they don't do that, when they just stick on the guy, that freaking kills me. Those are two things that I'm just like, oh, I notice it right away. I'm like, ooh, that's not good. And Parham, he doesn't have the strength right now to anchor, so he's going to get bull rushed by some of these quicker, stronger interior defensive, and there's some fucking stud-ass interior defensive linemen out in this league who are going to bull. I'm talking pancake Parham. If he can't anchor, when you have a third-string defensive tackle that's pushing it back into the quarterback, that's rough. So, again, that's one of the knocks on Parham. He wasn't strong at the point. He's much better in space, which, unfortunately, we can't do bootlegs and all that stuff in passing protection. You do have to anchor as a center. I thought he did okay. I think it was a good game for him to show where he has improved and a good game to show where some of the areas that need to be improved further.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think you nailed it. Nothing more to really say on Parham. The only other guy I wanted to highlight a little bit on sort of the second, third team was Alex Bars. He had a decent day, and I didn't really like him after the Jags game, but he actually had a pretty solid game as the backup left guard. So I think that's only a positive thing, right? It's more depth. It's more of a it's one position that we can potentially say that we've got a good one, a good two. We're set. Move on.
Defensively, let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. My main thing was Amik Robertson is punching his ticket to the scrap heap. This is a big opportunity for him to It's clean slate. Let's go out there and show what I can do. And he got burned twice. If not for an overthrow in the end zone, he would have given up a touchdown where he was barely in the screen. On a little double move. It wasn't even a great double move, to be honest with you. Uh, I don't know, man. I was very concerned about that. Deron Harmon missed a couple of tackles. Uh, you know, it doesn't show great. I mean, he wasn't great last year. He being Deron Harmon wasn't great last year in pass protection. I think it was one of his rougher
Pass
seasons
coverage.
against pass coverage. So he was going to be a little bit more of a kind of an asset against the run in Patrick Graham's system. Patrick Graham was not happy on the sidelines. You saw a couple of times where he is screaming into his mic, like, "What the fuck are we doing?" You can hear him say, "You can hear him. What the fuck are we doing? God damn!" You can see he's mouthing it, and I'm like, "Oh man, that's not good. That is not good."
You know what he was pissed about though? It was the run defense. He was. That's when they cut to the sideline and showed him, and he was furious. And so let's talk about that real quick. So the second quarter, we had, most of the twos were in, but some of the threes were starting to creep in. And the second quarter was bad for us. Obviously, against the Jags, we controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Against the Vikings, not the case at all, especially in that second quarter. They were able to run the ball on us. Big chunk yardage. They were beating us off the snap. They were getting leverage. They were driving us back, opening big holes. And it was the two rookies, really. It was Butler and Farrell right up the gut that were just getting moved around, just blown off. And he actually yanked him. Graham yanked him out. Yeah, he pulled him. So, I mean, that's kind of a negative, but that's what preseason's all about, right? We've got a couple of defensive tackles. They're second, third day guys. They're not going to be complete prospects at this stage. Getting worked is part of the process, and they got fucking worked.
Look, the errors that I'm seeing are mental. It's not because the guys can't do it, is they screwed up mentally and they got beat. Which, okay, we can fix that, right? At least this guy is not incompetent. You know what I'm saying? But again, Patrick Graham and Josh McDaniels have it. They said it, and they're walking it. The standard is the standard. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing on the field, you're not gonna play. I'm pulling you out. I'm having your position coach fucking run you down on why you screwed up and why you're not playing. Coach you up, teach you if we're comfortable with putting you back in the game, maybe we will. If not, we got other guys we can look at. And that's what you have to worry about. You got to know what you're going to do. If you don't know what you're doing, you're no use to us. And that's one of the reasons why I agree with you. I think Illuminor may very well take over that right tackle spot. Is he as athletic and does he have the promise as, let's say, even a Leatherwood has? No, but he's steady. He's steady. He's not going to make those big mistakes, and you can win with that. Just like what is that line from Jackie Brown? You don't have to trust her, you just have to know her. Okay? Illuminor, you don't have to expect anything crazy athletic or crazy over the top from him, but just know he's going to be a steady Eddie. And those steady Eddies, they'll take you a long way. He's not going to make the big mistakes.
He's honestly Denzel good. Like, that is a good comparison for him. He's versatile, he's solid, he's reliable. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, he's our best right tackle, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. So, defensively, I thought our linebackers looked pretty good. I thought even some of the backup guys, were flying around the ball. We had a couple of missed tackles, and Graham was not too pleased, but that was 2 plays out of the entire game. What we thought is what the issues were. We have issues in the secondary. We have issues in the interior defensive line. Those are 2 of the main issues that we have, and those are issues that need to get squared away and sorted pretty quickly because, we spent some draft capital on the secondary in the last few years, and especially this last year on the interior defensive line. we need to see some of that coming into. We need to start harvesting some of that, right? Harvesting some of those picks. All right, guys, we've been here for almost an hour. It's getting late. I'm tired. Final thoughts, Rory. Final thoughts.
So, look, positives. DJ Turner, obviously, he had a kind of a standout game. He's kind of put his name in the hat for making the roster as a wide receiver. He's an outside bet, but again, his special teams work could really help him. He returned a punt for a nice gain. We need to have this debate when RJ's on the pod, but this whole Hunter Renfrow returning punts thing, I'm still squarely against it. I think it's a fucking terrible idea. So if DJ Turner's the next best returner we've got, I would give him that roster spot personally and keep Hunter Renfrow off returning punts. I really like Patrick Graham and what he's shown in preseason. He's probably shown too much, but he did some really cool shit with blitzes. Again, this game, he brought Abram early on. He brought another safety blitz. He brought a nickel blitz. Like, he's definitely going to bring a lot more blitzes than Bradley did, which I love because I think a more aggressive defense is going to help us out, especially without that interior sort of pass rushing penetration that we don't necessarily have on the roster right now. That will help.
That's a great word.
Which one?
Roster. No, penetration.
What else? I mean, speaking of penetration, perfect bridge. I actually really liked what I saw from Billings. Thought Billings had a great game.
Yeah, got a sack, right?
He didn't just get the sack, dude. He had a nice goal line stop, and there was another goal line play that they scored on where he literally bull rushed. I don't know if it was the right guard or the center, but he bull rushed someone straight back into the quarterback. Like, he had a real nice game. And he showed up. He's the guy that they yanked Farrell and Butler for. And they brought him in to kind of stop the rut from that second quarter, getting run all over.
Yeah, the rookies struggled that game, man.
They really did. But then Vickers, again, I kind of like Vickers the most out of who we have at defensive tackle. Currently showing like he does get penetration. He can be part of a good rotation. So there's at least some depth and rotation there, but it's we don't have the top-heavy side. We don't have Hankins. And Bilal Nichols is this big unknown variable. So again, still really concerned about defensive tackle. Probably just a hair behind right tackle. And more positives, Malcolm Coons, again, another sack. This time I think it was on another stunt, but again, it was good to shed the block and he got the sack. He finished. That's 2 and 2. That's what we had to see from him because he's going to have to contribute this year, no doubt. Third down defense. We did a good job of third down defense. And the last positive I had was the kicking game, which, goddamn, we've got some damn good. Carlson is absolutely money lights out. And AJ Cole had the most ridiculous punt. It's like we're blessed to have such good special teams. And that's something that when we're talking about the AFC West and how stacked it is, we've got better special teams, arguably, than the other three.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
So remember that, right? When this debate comes up, if you need a decider, talk about special teams because I think our kicking game is supreme.
Yeah, I want Carlson to get all his misses out in the preseason. Just get them out of your system, right? Missed a PAT. I want to get that all out of your system right now. Don't want to see it in the regular season. Get it all out of your system right now. Okay, my positives. Team-wise, very crisp. Again, they snapped the ball consistently with 10 seconds left. They were lining up. Everyone knew where they were supposed to be. There's no one look around, no timeouts, man, and lined up in the wrong spot. These are backups. These aren't starters. Everyone knows where they're supposed to be. Position-wise, in the secondary, on big plays that we didn't give up too many, but when we did, there was an individual effort that failed. It wasn't people were out of position. It wasn't guys running around with their heads cut off. It was an individual effort, a missed tackle here. A guy took a bad angle. That's why we allowed a big play. We didn't have a busted coverage. We didn't have a guy didn't know what he was supposed to do. Everyone knows where they're supposed to be. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. That's my main takeaway out of this entire game because that does matter when you, especially early in the year. That's why they say you have to, cut this season up into quarters. The first quarter of the season, you may have a team that's kind of, floundering 2-2, 1-3, whatever. Then they kick it into high gear and they finish the regular season just fine, like the Chiefs do normally. But when you're tightened up out of the gate, you can take a couple of games early and be a 3-1 or 4-0, but just because you're more prepared. So that's my big takeaway. Another big takeaway is we need help. We need extreme help on the interior defensive line, and we need some help depth wise in the secondary. We have too many people hurt, and hopefully we get some guys coming back. I think we have enough guys. There's some options. I gave an option. If Drake, if people show that they're capable and less expensive than Drake is, we can maybe flip Drake for. My option was Tevin Jenkins from Chicago. Go back there. Dream Big says hi. I'm not sure this is a real account, but whatever. Hi, Dream Big.
That looks like fishing to me, man.
Whatever, man. It's all good. That's what we get. That's how big we are, bro. We're getting spam. Okay, guys. That's it for us. That's Rory. This is Juan. Signing off again. Have a good night. And above all else, be good to each other and be good to your pets. It's hot as fuck. Make sure you give them plenty of water. Make sure you give them some shade. I was on my way to work and I saw this freaking dog just sitting out there in the yard. I'm like, there's not a tree or a cover around here for this poor little guy. So make sure you guys take care of your pets, man. They always take care of you. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.
Respect that. Good man.